Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and welcome to those who's watching this video, especially towards Madam Amy. So in today's video, I'll be presenting about my task 3 implementation on the subject of Sociology in Education, or EDUP 3143. Basically in this slide, I'll be presenting about the impact of current educational changes on social mobility. This is the task 3 for the assignment task, and the recording is based on the slide that I'll be presenting now. Okay, so for the introduction, my name is Adam Hakimi bin Muhammad Azhar. I'm from the TESOL class, and I'm from the intake of August 2023 and 2028, and my lecturer for this subject is Madam Amy Loh, which is the best lecturer for this subject, in my opinion. Okay, moving on. Before we start presenting, I want to quote a quote from Socrates, which said, "The root of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. So through education, individual cultivate virtue, develop reason, and gain the knowledge necessary to participate fully in society." So why I choose this quote is because it is heavily related towards the subject of sociology, and it also related to education. So when Socrates said this, he mentioned that the importance of social interaction between human also can cultivate and improve education in a very great way, and it is through the root of education that human able to gain virtue, develop reason, and gain knowledge, and also to work as a society. Moving on. So, as an introduction, why education is important? Because it is the element in shaping progressive individual and societies. In the era of globalization and the digital revolution, the education system has experienced rapid changes in line with technological development, innovation, and the need of the modern economy. This transformation not only enhance teaching and learning method, but also have significant impact on students' social mobility, whether positively or negatively. So as we know, in 21st century world of education, the implementation of technology is very much everywhere, especially in terms of learning and teaching. So if we go to school now, and we compare the technology that we have now in school compared to 30 or 40 years ago, even 20 years ago, the learning environment is quite different, because back then they don't have that access to internet or gadget as much as students nowadays. And even when they are in the classroom setting, most of the learning environment rely heavily toward the teachers and the method of talk and chalk, which is when the teachers rely heavily on themselves, and there's no teaching material that related to digital implementation. Contrast to nowadays, teaching has evolved. Even in IPG, we have the implementation of Google Classroom, Google Meet, and even in school, it has been started since 2020 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So after that, the use of technology is quite common in school, especially in the world of education. So it has multiple standpoint and multiple view among teachers and students, also other stakeholders such as parents and the society, because some of them may see it as an effective way of teaching and learning, but some of them also see the negative side or bad side of the teaching strategy, which is implementing the technological aspect. So moving on. So, I will be explaining about social mobility and its meaning. The first one, I want to quote Nelson Mandela on this. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So, what is social mobility? Social mobility refers to the movement of individual or group from one social position to another within the structure of society. This change in status is usually influenced by factors such as education, employment, opportunity, and social network. So when we're talking about social mobility, it's like moving upward or downward on the hierarchy of societal norms. Like I stated, if with education we can change the world, It also can change a person social status. For instance, if you come from a very poor family and you manage to learn greatly in school, you can change your family by getting a better job and getting a better salary, or even getting into great university, a great job application, even settle down in a job that is very well received in the society. For instance, teachers, doctor, lawyer, and so on. So you can change the social status of yourself and also your family. So the other factors that may cause this rather than education is employment, opportunities, and social network. So there's a quota for everything in life. There's an instant where you cannot, even though you are eligible, or you able to enter certain things in life. For instance, in job, or in class, learning, or in your career, but there's a quota in which the employment rate is accepted. So when you are not accepted, that is the fairness of it, because there's the rate of employment. Even though you are qualified, there's always going to be someone who's better than you, and there's always going to be people who are more capable in doing the job than you. So that is the term of opportunities and the employment rate of what you can and able to understand. You must understand that, in my opinion. So moving on is social network. What is social network? It is basically when you have the connection or the networking towards people who can help you to move from one societal status to another. So basically, it's more like you know a person that can help you, and you are friend, or you have a connection with them. So once you understand that, the three components which I have said just now, which is education, employment, opportunities, and lastly, lastly being the social network. These four things can help you to change your social mobility or your social status in life. Basically, education is power, like I said, just like what Nelson Mandela said just now. Moving on. So, what is the current educational change? Because it is one of the most important thing to note and to learn. Basically, the first one is the transformation of the education system. In Malaysia, we have gone through many changes in our education system. The second one is the evolution of artificial intelligence and digitalization in education. Like I stated earlier in the video and in the beginning of the video, because most of the time, AI is now trying to take over most of the job in our society. But in education, I think it's proved to be very well documented to be we must still have structure in learning, and we can adapt AI and digitalization as a tool to help students and teachers in the process of teaching and learning. And lastly is the improvement in school infrastructure. As I stated, learning condition now and 2 or 3 years ago, 20 or 30 years ago is different based on the infrastructure that school provided. And it's pretty much very different compared to what we have now. Like I said, AI, and also there's also certain part in school that have been improved because of education system changes. So like there's new school that implement technology because we have the digital education policy and so on. So that's one of the other reason for it to happen, to that contribute towards educational changes in today's society, especially in Malaysia. Moving on. So, what is the current trend of transformation of the education system? So, the main idea towards the education system now is that we have Malaysian Education Plan 2026 and 2030 that aim to achieve higher quality education. So, what are the Malaysian higher education blueprint, you may ask? It's an I will acronym it into RPTM, which is a blueprint that was launched in January 2026, focuses on transforming tertiary education through human-centric values, sustainability, and digital integration. So what are the main components? We have the 4 core pillars of the Malaysian education blueprint, higher education blueprint, with the first one being anchored on human-centered, the second one being ensuring holistic well-being of a student, and the third one being promoting shared prosperity, lastly, and fostering sustainability. And it also incorporated academic bank and credit flexibility, which is allow flexible learning pathway towards lifelong learning. We also have skill and technology focus that incorporate digital literacy, AI integration, and TVET, which is vocational or technical. So there are also 3 more components that needed to be jotted down or to be emphasized on, which is industry and investment alignment, R&D. And then we have lifelong learning, which is meaningful learning towards student and how they're able to adapt the skill that they learn and how they learn it and how to use it outside of classroom setting or implement it in the real world. Alright, lastly we have global standard, upgrading local institution to meet the international standard and increasing the quality of higher education providers. So this is in terms of what we have now, the current educational system changes that have been implemented in January 2030. So, the second one being Insan Sejahtera. What is Insan Sejahtera? It is basically the emphasizement of, it is basically the focus on development of 5 key student characteristics, which helps students to be a more better individual in terms of learning and contributing towards the society. So once you have a functioning member of society that can learn in school or in any education setting, they able to produce ideas or even they able to contribute towards society in a greater mean. For instance, in terms of their learning capability, their support toward the nation, and also their effect on other people, which means they will inspire others to also be like them and to learn in a very inspirational way. Alright, so what are the education system transformation that can be highlighted by this? It is basically to nurture a student to be holistic and well balanced. So why is this important? Because students nowadays they don't have the grades or they don't have the responsibility to become a better individual and a well-balanced individual. So by having this Insan Sejahtera and understanding Malaysian Education Plan 2026-2030, we can create a student that is holistic and well-balanced. That is important to our society. Moving on. We also have a new curriculum aligned with educational transformation goals, which is built on 7 strategic pillars with 49 strategies to guide implementation that aim to prepare students for future challenges and societal contribution. Like I said just now, we have many policy in terms of education. Like I said, we have digital education policy and we have the TVET education. We also have the now we have the examination for standard 4. So this policy not only shape how student able to learn, but also how society can improve student on how they able to manage their learning. For instance, parents in school, now that students have to take a standard 4 exam, primary year 4 exam, parents must acknowledge that there's no longer have UPSR and final examination in year 6. So in the year 4 examination, they start to focus to tell the children you must learn and you must do your best in the examination because it is related to your future in high school or even in university. That is one of them. Not only that, when we have a digital education policy, for instance, we know that teacher able to adapt AI in the classroom. App like ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, and then what else? Claude. Those are the apps that help to generate ideas in just click or in at the end of your finger. You just need to type in your ideas and learning materials. So teachers will be able to become more creative, but there also the downside of it becoming the main focus of teachers in finding materials. That should not be the focus of teacher, because teachers must be creative on their own without using AI. But it is one of the policy that the government has aligned, so that we able to understand it more fully, and we also have help teachers to align themselves with that. So policy is important to our society to shape education for students and also for teachers. Alright. And here I highlighted a data from West that state higher education enrollment have been improving from years to years because the education policy changes. Because enrollment quite high now, people are getting to university, and that is very amusing towards our society and very much can help our society to develop even more. Moving on. So the next one is a very important component, which is the evolution of AI digitalization in education. So the emerge of the e-learning concept, I think IPG student is very much aware of what e-learning is. Google Classroom platforms and online learning resources mark the beginning of the digital learning era. So homeworks nowadays in school, even in university, it's normal to have online homework. We call it e-learning, or even we have tutorial tasks that need to be done in a computer. But in terms of school, nowadays they have the ICT and IT technology. There are even teachers who very much master the usage of IT implementation in the classroom. They can set up Google Classroom or Google Drive to collect material from the student. For instance, they can assign student into a Google Classroom with their parent account, and then when the homework is done, they just need to upload it without the teachers needed to collect one by one physically. It can be time consuming and also can make the student more stressed because they have to bring a lot of book. If 5 teachers adapt 5 Google Classroom, student don't have to worry about bringing many book to school and tasks to school, because they just can tell their parent, I need to submit this homework, and then their parent using the account based on the Google Classroom that the teacher have provided, submit the homework. Yeah, that is one of the example. So the second one, the integration of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and digital technologies represent the future of education, creating a learning environment that is more interactive, flexible, and student-centered. Nowadays, there are many students with different learning style. We have kinesthetic student, we have auditory student, we have visual learning student. These students with diverse need different kind of materials in order for them to learn better. So by integrating technology, AI technology, digital technology, teachers can use slides such as Canva, YouTube, Google to provide this material for the student with diverse need, and can create a meaningful and very memorable learning experience, thus helping students to be more aware of technology and also help enhance their learning capability. Moving on. So, lastly, this is the most not least important part, but also one that our nation still struggle a lot, which is the transformation of school infrastructure. So, government initiative has allocated around 66.2 billions to the education sectors. That's demonstrate a strong commitment to improving education. So most of the rural school and school that are in pendalaman have been receiving allocating the budget of 66.2 billion, thus helping with their infrastructure and also the need of the school. For instance, makmal, ICT, the lab, the computer lab, and also the school building and so on. This can help very greatly for them. The rural school. In urban school, it may help on term of improving what already digitalized. We can push forward the idea of cultivating an integrated digital learning environment. So, this effort is aimed to reduce long-standing educational gap. I give you an example. For instance, in Kedah and KL, it's very different. Why? Because in Kedah, most of the student doesn't have the needs and technology like the student in KL. You cannot take SK Kuala Kedah and take SK Kuala Lumpur and place it side to side. It's not gonna have the same level of student because the learning environment is different and the technological advancement is very different. Kuala Kedah and Kuala Lumpur is a very different place, is a very different environment. So, by this effort of the government that allocate 66.2 billion ringgit, it remove the long-standing educational gap between them. Hopefully, because there's still some school that needed more than rural school. For instance, school in Sabah Sarawak needed more than us in Semenanjung. Alright, so what are we aiming for when we create this learning environment that is changed in the infrastructure? We aim to create a student-friendly, comfortable and conducive learning environment that is essential to improve student learning and also improve the overall quality of our national education. So, we don't want to be viewed as a place that our education system is low. Our education system level is not as very well known like in other Southeast Asian country, for instance Singapore and then Indonesia. Indonesia still struggle like us, but Singapore is up there. Thailand also is up there. So we need to have that national quality education. Moving on. So what is the positive impact of all the three components that I have said, which is current educational changes, which is education system, AI and infrastructure. So, what are the positive impact? The first one being increased quality of learning. The integration of artificial intelligence and digital technologies allow learning to become more interactive through application, e-learning platform and adaptive learning system that adjust to student ability levels. That the first one, the positive impact one. The second one is accessibility and equal opportunities. Educational digitalization and modern infrastructure ensure that students in rural areas or lower status school can access learning resources similar to those available to urban students. The use of online platform, virtual classroom and digital libraries allow students to learn without limitation or location or time. Without limitation of location or time. With technology, you can skip the class. You can just learn at home, even though some of the students may struggle with finding gadget because of economy. But with digital classroom learning, we can skip most of the hassle. Okay, moving on to the negative impact. The negative impact is quite clear with digital and socio-economic gap. Students from low-income families and rural areas may have limited access to device high-speed internet, and modern technology. As a result, they may fall behind in digital learning, artificial intelligence application, and interactive learning resources. So, like I stated just now, we cannot compare the places from different state. For instance, if you take, like I said just now, Kedah and Kuala Lumpur, very different state with very different limitation. Student in KL might have problems such as they cannot use Canva at that time because Canva Pro is the most efficient tool. But in Kedah, they don't even know what Canva is. And maybe in KL classroom setting, they will say like, today I cannot submit my assignment because my ChatGPT and Copilot is not interconnected with my document. But in Kedah, they don't even know how to on their own laptop. I think that is the main problem when you implement this, because the gap of technology is quite high, and you see it's quite like this, the differentiation. Alright, so teachers workload and adaptation pressure. Teachers need to adapt to new technologies, artificial intelligence tools, and digital learning system and online platform. This process requires additional training, longer preparation time, and continuous adaptation to technological update. So basically, the negative impact is quite easy. The implementation of technology in classroom and in our daily life is different because the gap is there. The gap is very big, is very wide, because there's people who's gonna be understanding of the technology even more than others, and there's gonna be the one that don't understand at all. So that is one of the problem that needed to be addressed. And also the over independent of technology, also one of the other negative impact that needed to be pointed out. Moving on. So, what are the challenges in implementing educational changes? I want to state it. The first one being several challenges exist in implementing educational change. This includes student readiness to adapt to new learning methods, and teachers' readiness to integrate technology into teaching, and the digital divide that still exists in certain communities. I just stated just now. So, what are the steps to overcome the challenges? I give you 3. The first one being strengthening teachers' competence. So, before adapting in the classroom, the teachers must have the competency to address what needed to be done. So, if a teachers fail to adapt digital learning in classroom, the student also gonna be lost, and the learning environment will become stressful because the parents needed to be involved, the student don't know how to enter certain class, and the teachers also will face a lot of workloads. For instance, understanding technology while also attending class and managing their own RPH, for instance, meeting, facing the GB and so on. So it's gonna be very hard, but we must strengthen the teachers' competence in terms of AI education and classroom learning based on technology. So the second one is providing a supportive learning environment. We must support teachers and students that are implementing this, especially in rural areas, because it is a step that need to be taken for us to improve as a nation and society. So lastly is expanding accessibility to digital education. Digital education is important. It helps people. It helps people to change and understand how and to gain access to its unlimited amount of knowledge just by clicking and searching it up. So the conclusion, we have come to the last section of my presentation, which is educational changes including digitalization, AI, and improved infrastructure have expanded opportunities for students to improve their skill and social mobility. Addressing challenges like the digital divide is essential to ensure all students benefit fairly. So that's all that can be said in this presentation. So what are the highlight of this presentation? The first one is our educational system has changed from 20 or 30 years ago. We now have technology. So by having technology, what happened? We have different policy. By having different policy and technology, what do we change? We change the school infrastructure. When we change the school infrastructure, we implement policy based on the infrastructure and also the technology that we have. For instance, the Insan Sejahtera policy and then the education plan of 2026-2030. So, once we're done with all of that, what do we have? We have positive and negative impact. Like I said, the positive one being increased quality of learning, accessibility and equal opportunities for everyone who have the access to the technology. But we also have the negative impact, for instance, digital and socio-economic gap through all the state in our country, and also teacher workload and adaptation pressure. Teachers' workload gonna be increased when they don't have the competency in teaching and adapting digital learning in their daily life, in their daily learning, daily teaching, because that will increase their workload to learn about the technology, especially in older teacher or teachers who have been in school for 40, 30 years that implement chalk and talk methods. So, after that, we must overcome this. What are the steps that can be taken? Like I said, supportive learning environment, expanding accessibility to digital education, and lastly, strengthening teacher competencies. So by that, I will end it with another quote. I will end my presentation with another quote, which is, you will never regret the pain of trying to be better in learning. To do things as good once you test the struggle in changing. So in order to learn, you must try to be better. Once you learn, you must test the struggle. And once you test the struggle, you will change as a person that help the society, the nation, and also yourself. That is all from me. I'm Adam Hakimi bin Muhammad Azhar. This is for my task 3 EDUP 3143 task 3 implementation presentation. Thank you so much for watching.